Hey everyone, how you doing? It is Monday, and I think we finally got this echoing figured out in the show, and it was the mic. And you go figure, a $500 mic is causing all the problems. Why? You go pick up one of these USB blue balls, and it sounds like it's a killer mic. So looks like we got to go to a mix minus setup, because this is USB, and we got to do it with the mixer. So we'll get that back online sometime this week with all the phone calls and stuff. But it does sound better. I'm hearing it in the headphones right now, so we don't have to worry about that anymore with that echoing. Today we are going to talk about the fixes down in Texas, but right now we're going to talk about what everyone's talking about, is that Mongols supposed shooting out in Cali. So here we go. Take a look at the news report, and I'll come back on and we'll talk about it.
On the freeway, a driver shot in the leg. Traffic is brought to a halt as CHP officers canvass for clues.
NBC4's Rick Montanez is live in Baldwin Park, where the CHP has just released more information on the suspects. Rick.
Yeah, late tonight, investigators are telling us the shooting suspect is likely a member of the Mongols Motorcycle Club. This shooting shut down the freeway for hours, causing a massive traffic backup on one of the major interchanges here in the San Gabriel Valley. A wild afternoon on this stretch of freeway. The CHP says the shooting happened when two motorcyclists found themselves surrounded by 4 to 6 members of the Mongols outlaw motorcycle gang. One of those members, according to CHP investigators, then began shooting at the victim, striking him in the leg, in the thigh, I should say. This happened on the 10 West, right at the 605 interchange. Those two victims were able to get off the freeway at the next exit and call 911. Paramedics rushed the victim to the USC Trauma Center. The shooting shut down the freeway for hours. Investigators say they also recovered 2 shell casings and shards of a bullet on the freeway. The shooting happened around 1 this afternoon, and the freeway did not fully reopen until about 7 o'clock tonight. The CHP says the alleged suspect is a member of the Mongols Motorcycle Club. It's a notorious group involved in a major legal battle at the moment, where the federal government is actually trying to seize the Mongol Nation trademark logo and other club assets. The only description the CHP is releasing tonight of the shooting suspect is a man with a ponytail that has an unknown tattoo on his forehead. There were likely a lot of witnesses to this shooting this afternoon on this busy stretch of freeway, and investigators are hoping to hear from them. Reporting live in Baldwin Park, Rick Montanez, NBC.
Yeah, I call bullshit. And the reason why I'm calling bullshit is because there was many witnesses, blah, 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 but it was a man with a ponytail with a tattoo on his forehead. What proof did the media have, or law enforcement have, that it was a member of the Mongols Motorcycle Club? They did not mention it at all in this report. They just assumption, and all that. They don't know who the actual suspect is, but here's the reason why they did something like this. It's because right now, it is 3 days away from the third phase of the trial for Save the Patch, or the government going after the Mongols patch. 3 days before one of the most important cases are going to be heard. This happens. I don't buy it at all, man. Not at all. Not with that kind of freaking explanation. Not with that kind of reporting. Who can believe that? You know, that just goes to show you how far media is embedded in Leo's pockets. Now, a story like that is going to get out, of course, and now you're probably going to have this judge on the 28th say, well, you know, wait a second, you know, this just happened. You know, should I agree with the jury on this trial? It's just too coincidental, if you ask me, something like this being reported in news 3 days ahead of time. Now, club members aren't stupid. They ain't. And you don't think they're going to risk their patch? They know the biggest thing ever is up right now. So why would they go and do that? It just... no sense at all. And, you know, just report, you know, I've seen other reports, some out of the LA Times, and it's almost identical. The reporting's almost identical between each of the newspapers on what happened on this shooting. And as everybody knows, there's different perspectives from different type of people. Now, when reporters get it almost exactly the same, that there's no damn way that, you know, there's gonna, unless they're copying off each other, fuck, I don't know. But anyway, let's go on to our next thing. Again, I am on a USB mic instead of our normal condenser mic. We figured that was what was making the echo, so we're trying to get it fixed. We're probably going to go to a mix minus. Yeah, we're going to be doing a lot of YouTube and to figure out how to do a mix minus for USB. But we're going to try to get everything back up, phone lines, all that stuff real quick. Anybody have that freaking windstorm, by the way, yesterday? It was like 60-mile gust around here. It was crazy. It was like Antarctica without the freaking snow. It was like 10 degrees minus zero or some shit. I don't know, but it was crazy. I know, Greg, you said you had it in your part of Illinois, and somebody from Michigan said they had it also, but that was just a freak right there. It was like happening the whole time. But this next video is really cool, and it has to deal with motorcycle awareness. We actually shared it on one of our platforms, our social media things, and it's just gone wild, but it is potent, man. Let me tell you, this thing is potent.
Come on, Connor.
Grandpa!
Yes,
Grandpa forgot the ice cream.
I'll go get some here in just a minute.
Can I go?
No, why don't you wait until I get back, and then I'll take you for a ride.
Okay.
Told you that thing was potent right there, and that kind of wakes you up. I actually, because we got polls that go on in Bikers and Brotherhoods. It's a group that we sponsor. It's one of our official ones now on Facebook. And if you haven't already, go ahead and join it. I think in about a week or two, we had like 5,000 people join this thing. And it's set up for people to talk with each other within the biker community, also to meet up with each other for rides and stuff. But we have daily polls, and it's interesting to see the answers to some of them polls. Like today's was, you know, a lot of us are fathers, mothers, grandfathers, grandmothers, and if you would let your, you know, kid or your grandkid start riding a bike, and you know, yeah, a lot of us were like, well, it'd be hypocritical not to let them ride because we ride. But, you know, that father, that mother, and that paternal, or, you know, freaking feelings in you, seeing what people face on the road right now from cagers, it's like, I don't know so much, you know, I don't know. Would I want to see my kid on a bike? You know, it's the best thing, seeing a father and son on a bike riding next to each other. But like this video, man, the texting is crazy. For one, with the texting. Now, why the hell would you want to sit there and put your life in danger or somebody else's life in danger for, you know, a 30 freaking word text? You know, get yourself thrown in jail or something for a manslaughter charge, just like in that video. It don't make no sense, but hey, that's the age of the cell phones, and it's been going on since cell phones have been around. You know, the older guys, though, it's pretty, you know, we used to have no worries about that stuff in the old days when freaking cell phones were not around. Yeah, but now it's like they don't pay attention. They don't care. So, you know, that's a question. You know, put your response in the comment section. Would you let your kid or your grandkid ride a motorcycle? Yes, no, or, you know, like everybody else says, no, it's too damn dangerous. I wouldn't do it. But it was a good poll. Don't forget, again, Bikers and Brotherhood. It's a good thing going on over there. Next, we got our presentation going on, and it is the fixes in Texas. Wait till you hear this freaking story. Holy shit. The fix is in. You know, you hear about the good old boy type of deal, or you got the Chicago freaking bullshit. Yeah, this just takes the cake, and it's no wonder why they haven't been able to have any convictions coming out of Twin Peaks. There's been one trial, and that was a mistrial, and there hasn't been any convictions since, and they've had to let, I think it is all but, 23 or 24 people loose from we'll talk about it in a second. Let's look at this.
By Tommy Witherspoon. A Waco judge received a public warning Wednesday after a state commission determined he showed bias favoring law enforcement by appointing a Waco police detective as foreman of a McLennan County grand jury in July 2015. Judge Ralph Strother of 19th State District Court was issued a public warning by the 13-member State Commission on Judicial Conduct, which investigated the judge after a complaint was lodged by Austin attorney Millie Thompson, who was representing 3 bikers arrested in the deadly May 2015 Twin Peaks shootout. Strother, McLennan County's senior state district judge, declined comment on the warning Friday. I complained of several issues of bias related to the Twin Peaks cases, and this seemed to be the most minor one that they decided to warn him on, Thompson said. It is something. It is not what I hoped for, but it is something in the right direction. The warning does not require action by the judge, such as additional continuing education courses. The Commission has taken this action with the intent of assisting Judge Strother in his continued judicial service, as well as in a continuing effort to protect public confidence in the judicial system and to assist the state's judiciary in its efforts to embody the principles and values set forth in the Texas Constitution and the Texas Code of Judicial Conduct, the warning states. The day Strother appointed Waco Police Detective James Head foreman of the grand jury was the first time that McLennan County used a new, random system to select grand jury members. Previously, judges appointed grand jury commissioners, who nominated prospective grand jury members. Strother, explaining his appointment of Head that day, told the Tribune-Herald, "We have lawmen who get on jury panels all the time. Who is better qualified in criminal law than somebody who practices it all the time?" The warning said Strother told the commission that he did not think appointing Head foreman was a conflict of interest, noting that the term of the grand jury on which Head served expired before prosecutors presented the Twin Peaks biker cases in November 2015. Strother told the commission Head would have never been on this or any other grand jury if the prior system of appointing grand jury members was still in place. The judge assured the commission that the experience has since caused me to exercise more caution and be more aware of potential problems, according to the warning. Strother told the commission he did not realize Head was a police officer until after he was sworn in. The judge said he appointed him presiding juror, adding he knew of no prohibition against an officer serving as either a grand juror or trial juror. The warning states Strother said he did not ask if Head played any role in the Twin Peaks investigation. He stated, "In perfect hindsight, I wish he had not been on the grand jury," according to the commission warning. The warning states the relevant standards the Commission relied on from the Texas Code of Judicial Conduct in rendering its decision states, "A judge shall perform judicial duties without bias or prejudice." 2 visiting judges removed Strother from presiding over 2 Twin Peaks cases in September 2017 after attorneys for the bikers filed recusal motions alleging Strother showed bias against their clients. Eric Vinson, Executive Director of the State Commission on Judicial Conduct, said a public warning is the second highest of 6 disciplinary measures the Commission issues. He said the Commission can issue public or private admonitions, public or private warnings, or public or private reprimands. A public warning is just under a public reprimand in terms of seriousness, Vinson said. Strother is eligible to appeal the public warning to a special court of review comprised of 3 justices from the state's intermediate appellate courts selected randomly by the Texas Supreme Court.
Yeah, that Microsoft thing's getting me annoyed right there. But you got the gist of it. How do you knowingly... And you know what? He claims that on one hand, law enforcement are the best to be on juries because they know the law. But how the hell do you allow a Waco detective that had knowledge or was a part of the investigation lead a grand jury? Are you kidding me? This is America. That is the most asinine thing I have ever freaking seen in my life. Oh, by the way, thanks for that super chat, Dan. Sounds like a judge with no law school experience. No, what it is, Dom, was the deck was stacked the whole time with this case. And that's the reason why after 4 years, they haven't got a conviction. They had one trial with a mistrial. The whole thing from the very beginning was awful. Anybody who had a patch there on was arrested. And I think they were arrested for like mob action or something like that. And it was like $1 million bond. $1 million bond. And a lot of people's lives were ruined of this. And you can see in a lot of videos, and a lot of the videos are right here on YouTube now because a lot of the defense has released them videos. And you can see people actually running away from this incident, and they didn't do nothing wrong. But because Abel Reyna, he actually gave the detectives a freaking blank I think it was a warrant or some kind of shit where it was fill it out, okay, arrest the freaking guy. There was no investigation whatsoever in Waco. None. And the more time that goes on, the more of the truth comes out. And the more that the truth comes out, it's even more ridiculous seeing this kind of stuff. This is America. And you know what? This afternoon, I was doing some Netflixing, doing some freaking research on this subject. And I came across the Memphis Three. Now, the Memphis Three, this was, this was a case in the early 90s. That was Casey Gautreaux, Stephan. She was the attorney for Jake Carzile. That was actually the one who got the first mistrial. That's the one that I interviewed. But anyway, the Memphis Three, these 3 teenagers were convicted, you know how Arkansas is and shit like that. They're devil worshippers, and then they did it because they were wearing black and shit like that. But anyway, they convicted these kids of murdering 3, I think it's 7 or second graders it was. And, all the gruesome details and shit like that. And yeah, you know what? Whoever killed them kids, they need to be freaking tortured in freaking Community Square and shit like that. But anyway, it came out 18 years later with DNA evidence and all that kind of shit that, hey, these kids didn't kill these people. They didn't kill these kids. They were innocent. One was on death row. But what the prosecution did was, in order to get the case, out of the public eye and stuff, because there was a big uproar with the Memphis Three. And they said, okay, well, if you plead guilty, we'll still let you say you're innocent. It's kind of one of them, weird deals where, okay, you got to plead guilty, you're innocent, but we'll let you out of freaking prison. Now, with somebody that's facing life in prison and somebody who's facing the death penalty, of course they're going to take that freaking deal. And it was actually freaking real funny. The first trial that happened, one of the kids, you know, they got the life sentence. Then the prosecution tried to come back and say, hey, we'll give you a lesser sentence if you testify against these other two. And this guy's a teenager now. And he said, no, I'm not doing that because it's not the freaking truth. And thank God that kid didn't take that deal, because it came out later through DNA evidence that these kids were nowhere near it. Actually, it was looking like it was one of the kids' fathers who killed those three kids. But hey, you know, the prosecutor came back and say, well, this case is closed, we're not looking at it, and they basically let him go. No, you screwed up. And that's exactly what happened in the Bandidos and Cossacks case down at freaking, Twin Peaks. It was screwed up from the beginning, from get-go. And now you're finding out that a judge lets a freaking Waco PD jump on this grand jury? How much of a setup is that, really? Think about it. It's supposed to be equal justice under the law for everybody. But it ain't that in America. It's you got money or you don't got money. If you got money, you're going to be all right because you can hire high-priced attorneys, make all the deals you want with people. But if you're poor, it's screw you, let's send you to prison. And that's one of the things I like about Trump that he's doing right now is criminal justice reform, because we really do need it. We really do need criminal justice reform. Is it ever going to get, you know, good for the poor man or the working man? Is justice ever going to be equal? No, because this country runs on capitalism. And with the country running on capitalism, money's always going to freaking talk. It don't matter, if you got money, it's going to talk. Now, there's a lot of people's lives in Texas that were ruined because of the action of Abel Reyna. He was the prosecutor in this case. All he wanted to do was take his next stepping stone up to the governor's office. That's all this man wanted to do. And it's been proven that he's under FBI investigation because he was handing out little favors here and there to his cronies, getting them out of shit. But when it came to this, he's boom, right up in that courtroom, right up there. And he wanted to prosecute 177 people. This case is actually studied in law schools in Texas because they never, ever seen something like this. That was a Gestapo action that was pulled in Waco, Texas. But we shouldn't be freaking surprised with Waco, Texas, should we? With the early 90s with David Koresh and the ATF, how they went in there, stormed, killed over, 30 people, a lot of kids, a lot of women. So that's their system of justice in Waco, Texas. Their system in down there, that's the way they work down there. It is funnier than hell. How, people, I know Texas is different, okay? It's rah, 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 Texas, don't mess with Texas and stuff like that. But, and they're really pro-American. That's also cool. But that don't mean you don't question authority. That don't mean you don't question what the government is doing. You don't be all in for them. Now, the case in Waco is terrible. That happened in 2015. It's coming up on 4 years. 4 years, guys. 4 years. Only one trial, and it was a mistrial. And the rest have been released except, 20-something. And, hopefully this new DA is going to go look at the evidence. Now, personally, I don't see how the hell they're going to be able to bring a trial with what Abel Reyna did. Now, this is coming out that the judge had detectives on the grand jury. It's insane. Are you crazy? How can you expect, even if somebody was found guilty, to not win on appeal with this? It's a big clusterfuck, and it's because of one man. One man did this to hundreds of people. And that's what's sad. You really don't see it in the news much anymore unless, an incident happens with a shootout with other clubs. Yeah, they'll bring in Waco like it was a big thing and stuff. You got to remember, the cops knew about Waco. They knew about it. They knew it at Twin Peaks. That's why they were there early. They knew something was going to happen, that two clubs that didn't like each other was going to be near each other. So they found that up through informants and all that kind of shit. So they knew it was going to happen. So you got to ask yourself, why didn't they stop it? Why didn't they stop it? They had their informants in place. They were in place before even the Bandidos got there. Why didn't they sit there and go down the road and they seen the Bandidos coming? Well, we know you two don't get along. Guess what? Turn around. They do that stuff in Chicago all the time. They'll turn around groups that don't get along and send them on the freaking way. No harm, no foul. And you know what? A lot of the clubs don't even bitch about it because they don't need the headaches. And Texas, since 2015, has become so anti-biker. They are in the epicenter of motorcycle profiling. It is freaking hilarious the way they are allowed to get away with what they're doing down in Texas. You cannot even sport a patch without one of these cops pulling you over on your way to school or on your way to work and saying, well, you got to give us a picture, or we got to be able to take pictures of you, or you're going to jail. Is that the America we really know? Not me. Not me. And that's why it's so important that you got to get in this fight. You got to join motorcycle rights organizations. You got to get involved with ABATE, the Motorcycle Profiling Project. How many out there over the years of riding have felt that you were being profiled by a cop, or you were stopped for no reason at all and gave a stupid excuse just so they can sniff around because you were on a motorcycle? If that's the case, go over to Double D's website right now, Motorcycle Profiling Project, and fill out that profiling survey. You got to fill out the survey because that survey is actually being used to help fight motorcycle profiling on the state and federal levels. They're using that at, hearings on this kind of shit. Now, without freaking getting involved, you're not helping anybody. You're not helping yourself. You're not helping in your rights, any of that stuff. It's easier to let other people do all the work. But until you get involved, you can't appreciate the work them people are doing. And Double D over at Motorcycle Profiling Project, he's actually been on this the whole freaking time. Ever since the shit, Texas Biker Radio has been on this the whole time, ever since Waco happened. They've been down there fighting it. They got together. They were able to affect change at the polls. Bikers are a hell of a voting bloc. When they decide they get out there and vote and get involved in the issues that affect us, it ain't all about immigration. It ain't all about Russia or this or that. You got to take your own political issues as a biker and go out there and exercise that. And that's exactly what they did down in Texas when it was in that primary and they got freaking Abel Reyna out of there. So big stuff coming out, and this shit with, we're probably going to get information in the next couple days. I'm watching the news wires right now, but I cannot see through that reporting how many newspapers got almost the equal thing. It's almost word by word they're reporting on what happened there. And that's exactly the reason why it looks like it's a scam. It looks like it's a propaganda shit. They got freaking I'm sure they got cameras all over the freaking place on that I-4 corridor or whatever, I-5, whatever it is in California. To just come out and say automatically that it's a Mongol that's a suspect, knowing 3 days from now that the third phase of the trial begins for the patch. Now, for those that haven't joined us, the third phase is when the judge has agreed to call expert witnesses forward and let them speak and see if it's constitutional for the government to take the trademark of a private organization. A private organization. They're going to see if this is legal. Now, no matter which side comes out winning on the 28th or whenever he makes his judgment, it's going to go through appeal upon appeal upon appeal, and hopefully gets to the Supreme Court where we won't hear about this ever again. But you got to worry about the Supreme Court because they lean more blue than they do regular America. So you got to worry about that. But the government has been doing this for 10 years to the Mongol, probably more, going after their patch. They got a fascination with the patch. And thank God that the Supreme Court actually did something right and came out and said asset forfeiture, you can't go overboard on it. If it's a $10,000 fine, you can't go take somebody's $40,000 bike or their car. So that helps clubs a lot right there, more than you know, and that was a unanimous decision. So we need a decision like that on something like this, because this won't only affect motorcycle clubs. This affects you as an American citizen. Yeah, it goes way, way beyond motorcycle clubs. So it's some scary, scary shit. Let's see here. James, Michigan biker. I hear the former national president of Mongols gave up the club to the government as part of his deal. Yeah, that was Dr. Rat Cavallos, man. I'm wondering if he's going to be making a book or a movie or a standalone show. Tomorrow, actually, we have, let's see here, a special report on the business of being out bad. And that's going to be over at Insane Throttle Biker News. You can take a look at that. But, yeah, Doc Cavallos actually signed it over to try to get his damn freaking ass out of freaking jail. And, you know, ever since then, the Mongols have been trying to freaking fight this case. And, yeah, everybody, you know, members are probably paying a big, hard freaking price for this. And I think it was like $1.3 to $1.6 million they've already spent on this freaking case right now. They have already spent it. Unfreaking real. And that's the government for you, because they got unfiltered, unlimited freaking resources at their disposal. And that's why the criminal justice reform needs to take place. It really does. Because if you got the money, you get justice. If you don't get justice. So a lot of people can't pay $1.3 million to get where they are now in this trial. Imagine this if it's a small club. A small club. And actually, I'm surprised the government went after one of the bigger clubs in something like this. Because if they went after a smaller club would have never freaking had the money to go through all this process. So you got to wonder the way they think and shit like that. You know, they're asinine freaking suits who think they're doing a service. They think they're freaking these crusaders and knights in shining armor that are actually helping the public. But in essence, what they're doing is killing our rights as American citizens. And you're right, James. It does sound like a setup, because come on, let's all use common sense. And I know it's hard for a lot of people not to use common sense. We got a bunch of them people that don't do that. But why would anybody 3 days before a major freaking trial do some shit like this? Unless it's a setup. Because the cops need that extra oomph. To go ahead and get this judge to pull on the other side of the issue. Because after all, it was this judge in the first trial with the Mongols, that actually said, no, you can't do this. And that's when it went on to the Ninth Circuit Court, or the Ninth Circus as everybody knows it, because anything you want, and they're a court that is 80% of the time overturned because they're the most progressive, left-leaning commie assholes you would ever meet. But anyway, they kicked the case back down and said you got to go through and do this and do that before anything. So they kicked it down, back to trial, and that's where we're at today. And the hearing is on the 28th, and I don't know what time, but I'm sure we're going to be scanning the news wires to see what's going on. But the ACLU actually came in on defense of the Mongols, and I think a lot of other civil rights organizations are. I know MPP is. I know a lot of the MROs are. And that's awesome seeing that kind of stuff. And I actually got to talk to somebody, and a lot of the clubs are actually getting along because they know something like this can't hurt them all. It can fuck them all up. They know they can lose their patches. They know the government goes after asset forfeiture then. They go after bank accounts, motorcycles, all that stuff. So club members are getting really smart by saying, you know what, I don't think this is too worth it right now. Is it worth spending $25 to life for some stupid shit? And they're really getting out of that kind of stuff. So it was good to hear that they're actually working together to fight this stuff. And you know what? Independent bikers need to too. Independent bikers need to get in this fight and support hashtag save the patch. They really need to. They really need to. Because we all know everything in the biker scene first goes through the clubs, because they're the ones who went out there and fought for the rights that we have today. So let's get behind them, support them, you know, shake a hand of an old gray beer, old timer, say thanks for everything you did during the 70s and 80s and all that good shit. You know, give them some respect, man, because they really do deserve it after what they've been through. But again, we will be getting this system fixed. Anybody who's out there that's really a good techie that knows audio setup, we got to go to a mix minus, it's called, setup between a mixer and a USB condenser mic. So, you know, that way we can get our iRigs working with the telephone calls again. And this sound actually stays cool because I'm listening to it right now. And you know what? I got to thank you guys for sticking with the show. That reverb on that other mic was just freaking terrible, man. It was freaking terrible. So now you got that nice, crisp, clear type of deal. So don't forget. Actually, Alabama DS, I'm going to have Demons Row on sometime next week. He has a really kick-ass channel. Go take a look at that. Really good stuff over there. You know, it's funny getting all kinds of different views from the different people. So get over there, check it out. I know you'll like it. I'll have him on. What is it called? Next week sometime. We're working out. Also, Dime Rider 666. And you got Dibs in the Win. His Sunday chats are really getting cool. Of course, Black Dragon TV. As a matter of fact, mentioning Black Dragon, he has almost finalized the route from Georgia up to Wolverine, Michigan for the June 7th ride up to the A8 grounds. He's almost got it freaking in stone. So if you want to get on the ride with Black Dragon, I'll have the route out soon. As soon as he gets me a map and all that good shit, it'll be awesome. So check that out. Let's see here. Who else we got out there? We got, you know what? I've really been liking what freaking John Maxwell has been putting out with the bike stuff, with the mechanics. That shit is freaking awesome. So check him out. Again, if you got a channel that you would like to feature on Insane Throttle's freaking page, HarleyLiberty.com. We actually got a channel page there where people can look through and hit through. It's a way to support all the creators and shit like that. And don't forget, tomorrow coming up during the day, we got the rest of the interview with Good Time Charlie with BIC Radio, where we talk about all kinds of goodies. All kinds of goodies. So with that, I'll let you guys go. I'm losing my voice here. So, sorry about that. Talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching Motorcycle Madhouse Live. We're on Monday through Friday from 7 to 7:30. Check out some of these videos of our archives. Get to know us. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. We appreciate all your support. We'll see you next time.